up for Joe Briggs.
I found a gun. Has anyone in here ever found a gun before? It's a wild experience. Because I was going to work in the morning and I was like walking up my driveway and I saw one on the ground. I've only ever seen guns on the news, you know, and they're like kind of violent. But when you catch one out in the wild and he's not hurting anybody, you're like, he's kind of cute. And so I walked over to it and he was friendly and he let me pick him up and I was like, I have a friend now. And so I picked it up and then like immediately I realized I was like, I don't think you're just supposed to pick up guns. Because like, you know, guns can kill people. Unless you're my dad, then people kill people. And fucking got you, old man. And wish I had the gun still. No, but so I find it, and I was like, I'm holding the gun, and I was like, this probably isn't what you're supposed to do when you find a gun, right? So I was like, I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna put it in my apartment with all the other problems that I don't want to deal with right now, and I'm gonna go to work like nothing happened. And so I'm walking up my driveway and I'm carrying my new strap. And I feel good. And so I'm like strutting, I feel strong, and my neighbor pulls in, he works the night shift, he pulls in the driveway, and he looks worried immediately, and I'm like, what's going on with Aaron? And then I realize that I'm just holding my new strap at 7:45 in the morning. Just like, we're taking the streets back now, are you in or you out, brother? We're fucking going. And so I'm holding, and he looks scared, and so he's moved, and he's gone. I was like, I even tried to let him know it was harmless. I like bent down and like waved the gun over my head, like a French soldier in the war. It didn't make a difference. He's gone. And so I'm like, I take the gun in my apartment, I put it on my kitchen table, and then I'm just looking at it for a minute, because I'm like, I'm pretty sure this isn't what you're supposed to do when you find it. But I've never found a gun before, so I'm like, I don't know. But then I'm like, you know who know? Dads know. So I call my dad. And he picks up immediately because he's retired, and I tell him what happened, and he's just like, everything you did, that was the wrong answer. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then he was like, sometimes I can't believe you're my son. And I was like, you could have left the second part out, actually. One insult was enough for the day. And so he goes, meet me at the police station. We're going to turn this gun in. And I go, you got it. So we go to the police station. I bring the gun with me. Because it would be weird to not bring the gun to the police station. You know, if we went there and we were like, we have a gun, but you got to come find it first. We didn't do that. We brought it with us. And so we get to the counter, and there's a woman working reception. I just want to say, hey, I'm Joe. I found a gun. I want to return it. End of story. But my dad shushes me, and he's like, I got this. And I was like, that's not good. It's not going to be good for any. Important note about my father is he's been retired for 10 years, and all he watches is Law & Order SVU. So right now he's like, we're in an episode. This is going to be amazing. So he leans forward and he goes, send a cop out. I think we got something he's going to like. And I had to be like, Dad, did you just lick your lips? Just moisten your lips at that woman? So I start to panic. I can tell she's worried. She's like, sir? And he's like, I got this. Send a cop out. We got something for him. I can see her sweating. He's like, no clue what's going on. I want to clear it up, and I just go, we have a gun! And that's like the one thing you're not supposed to do in a police station, apparently. Because they're ready for it, it turns out. They're like, every cop in there's like, finally a home game. Playing on a weight turf for 10 years. I get anxious sometimes. I get anxiety. You do too because you have a beanie on. And, sorry, I'm Joe. I hope the show's good. Because it's being recorded. And I like David Bowie. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't want to be the one to break the news, but he did die a couple of years ago. Yeah, well, it was a big time bummer. And when he died, I was like, people need to know about this. And so what I did is I got a David Bowie tattoo. But can you even see it in the front row right there? I'm not gonna punch you in the dick right now. But I got a lightning bolt because it was like David Bowie, and so I went to this tattoo parlor in Dayton, Ohio, and I go in and they're doing the tattoo, and while they're doing it, they're like, hey, just so you know, we've got a $200 shop minimum on tattoos. You should probably get another tattoo. And in my head, I was like, that sounds like a good deal to me. I don't want to disappoint my dad by paying $200 for a small tattoo. I better get my money's worth on tattoos today. And so he was like, what else would you want? And I was like, I don't really know. Whatever you think would look cool, man. Don't do that. I want to tell you right now, don't do that if you get a tattoo. Because I got this on my arm forever. It's just an anchor. Just an anchor there. Because David Bowie died. That's the star, man. That's real bad. And I get that tattoo. And then like 6 months later, I go whitewater rafting. And if you don't have enough friends, they put like strangers in the boat with you. And so there's two guys, we don't know, they're in our raft. You don't have a shirt on because the water's wet. And then this one guy, he looks at me, he sees the tattoo and he goes, oh, that guy? He was in the Navy. We're gonna be fine. And then I had to like look back at him and be like, sir? This is clearly a David Bowie tattoo. So stupid. I never had a fake ID growing up. I don't know, I always wanted one. But did anyone in here have a fake ID? You had one? How'd you get a fake ID? A friend? That's why I couldn't get one. I was trying to get a friend so I could get the fake, couldn't even get the first base on that. And so I could never get one. And so when I turned 21, immediately was like, oh, lost my ID, and gave it to my younger brother and was like, we're gonna drink together, this is gonna be fine. And so we would go to bars, and our plan was like, he would go in first, and if he got past the bouncer, I'd wait for 10 minutes, and then I would go in, and then alcohol heaven. And so this worked for 3 bars. And the third bar, we get in, everything is cool, and then we sit next to each other at the bar, and the bartender goes, I need to see your IDs again. And we were like, oh, we didn't plan for this one. Didn't see that coming. And so I hand her my ID, and she's like, Joe Briggs, okay. And then she like takes my brother's, and she's like, Joe Briggs? Why do you guys have the exact same name? And I was kind of drunk already, but my brother was quick, and he was like, it's because we're twins. And I was like, in my head, I was like, there's no way it's gonna. But then she was like, that makes sense. But I was already like 10 beers, so I was like, no, it does not make sense. How did you get a license? How do you what set of twins have the same exact name, man? What planet do you live on? She's like, it could be different middle names. And I was like, it's not. You idiot. And then so she's looking at my brother and she's like, what's his problem? Why is he being such an asshole? And my brother's like, oh, I'm sorry. We took him out for drinks. It's his birthday. And then she was like, what? And my brother was like, oh. It's our birthday. And she took the IDs. So 3 bars was cool. I bought a bidet. I don't know if you guys believe in... Yeah, got some clean holes in the house. That's good. Anyone that does, clap if you don't have a bidet. Yeah, you can stop now. Your hands are probably disgusting. Your hands are just smeared in shit. Don't touch the railing. It's friggin' great. I bought one. I love it. The first time I used it, though, I didn't read the instructions because I'm a man. Kinda. And I was trying. And I put it on and I was like, I'm gonna do a dry run of the bidet. So when they, like, you know what I mean? Like when they like throw the jets up in the air just to make sure they fly, I'm gonna do that with my holes. And I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna turn it on, see how she works. And what I didn't know is that the knob it controls pressure. But I thought it was like an on-off type of situation. So I believed I was turning it on, but what I really did was I turned it all the way on. And I got hit with a force. And it went right in the hole on the first try. Like if Tiger Woods would have seen it, he'd have been like, wow, that is a really good shot. And it hit me, and it screamed, and I know how bodies work, but a little bit of water came out of my mouth. Like, I get that there's a roadmap inside all of us, but I found the shortcut. It's there. If you show your doctor a picture of me, he's gonna be like, dude, I freaking heard about that guy. And so I get off the toilet, I scream, I'm like crying. I yell, I'm not crying, I lived alone. That was just for me. Just for me to hear it. And so I finished, and I'm like, there's water everywhere. I'm like, okay, this is a mess, but I'm just gonna go outside, catch my breath, and think about who I am as a man now. Because it changes. It changes when you lose your flower. Boy, did it change. And so I go outside, and I'm trying to breathe, and my neighbor comes out, and he like cracks his door open. He lives right next door to me. We have the same porch. He cracks his door open, and he just goes, hey, man, I need to ask you a question. And I'm like, why does he sound so scared? And I'm like, what's up? And he goes, did you just hear a woman scream? Because I heard a woman scream. And then I had to look him in the eyes and be like, yeah, she's gonna be fine. Try minding your goddamn business for once. There was, I had a crush on somebody, and I think we all had high school crushes, right? I mean, you hear it and you go, that is a frail old woman. That is a grown man who just got snipped, apparently, and bits are missing. No, I had a crush, and after college, I ran into her at a bar, and I was like, hey, you want to go out sometime? We should get a drink. And she was like, yes, I do. And I didn't want to blow it, so I was like, oh, what do you want to do on a first date? And she was like, oh, I love a home-cooked meal. We should do that at your apartment. And I was like, that's a great idea. And then I didn't tell her that I still lived with my parents. Because I was like, I don't want to ruin the date. But I don't have an apartment. So I was like, I'll come up with something. I'll cook some. And so my plan was, what I did was I rented an Airbnb. Went there early, just took one picture down, put up a picture of me and my brother, was like, that'll play. That's gonna look good. And so we go out, we get a drink, and then we like go back to my place. And immediately it starts going off the rails because we walk in, or we try to walk in, we get to the door, and she's like, why do you have a security pad instead of a key? And I'm like, oh, to keep it secure. It's a very secure apartment. And then she's like, yeah, but why'd you have to look up the security code in your phone? And I was like, because it's so secure, nobody's going to get in or out of this place at all. And then she started to look weird at it and be like, oh, you're going to get out. You're going to be fine. Turn your location off. And so... and so we go in and we do like we do the date, but it's like, it's going off the rails. Because she's like, hey, like, quick question. I'm like, what's up? She's like, why do you have in your fridge only the exact ingredients to make chicken parm? And I was like, oh, I eat out a lot. And then she'd be like, hey, where's the bathroom? And I don't know, because I've never been to this place. So that I'm just bullying her, and she's like, where's the bathroom? I'm like, where is any bathroom? Shit your pants like a man. And so we do the date, and it's obviously not going well. And then it gets to the very end, and she's like, I'm going to leave. And I was like, you can. Gonna get you. And so she goes to leave, and we get to the door, and she's like, hey, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And she's like, when were you going to tell me that this wasn't your apartment? And I was like, how did she know? I hung the photo? How'd she know? And so she goes, when you walk in the door, there's a table filled with pamphlets of things to do in Cleveland, Ohio. And I was like, oh, you mean my table of cool other date ideas? And she was like, that is not what I meant. It's so stupid. It sucks that actually happened. I don't gamble, I don't like Vegas. I hate gambling, but I went there for a bachelor party, and I was like, we wore suits the whole time. We did the casinos, and I was like, I don't want to just drink Miller High Life because that's what I always drink. So I was like, I'll wear a suit, I'll get a fancy drink, but I don't know any fancy drinks because I'm from Parma. And so the only thing I ordered all weekend, because I watched The Big Lebowski that week, was just White Russians. So I'm just housing White Russians. I'm throwing up every morning. Because I'm drinking a quart of heavy cream every single night. It is not what the body was made for. I'll tell you that right now. I'm like, man, I'm not even drinking. My friends are like, you're drinking milk exclusively and some booze. Eat a sandwich. But we get to like the last day of a 5-day weekend, and I'm like bloated. I feel terrible. And my friends are like, just drink water or beer. And I'm like, they know me now. I can't change who I am. This is Vegas Joe. Old freight train himself. And so I'm drinking them. And we were at the table, it's the last night, and I'm drinking a White Russian. Waitress comes by, she's like, you want another one? I'm like, never stop bringing these to me. She walks away, and my friend's next to me, and he looks at me, and he's like, hey man, what are those drinks called? And without even thinking twice, I look at him, and I'm like, oh, these are called Creamy Boys. And then in my mind, the joke was over. I thought it wasn't gonna go anywhere else. But then the waitress comes back and hands me my White Russian, and she's like, do you want anything? And my friend Nick just goes, yes. I too will have a creamy boy. And it's Vegas, so she was like, you got it, and done. And she walked away, but then I got anxious because I was like, what is she gonna bring us? This is, what happens here stays here. Are we gonna get like a small boy covered head to toe in milk? And she's gonna be like, you asked for this, you gotta raise it now. He likes 2%. I believe in the power of friendship. I don't know if we got friends out here. We got good boys? Good boys? Yeah. Oh yeah, it's my good boy. I have a best friend. I love him so much. I've known him since I was in kindergarten. And there's friends, and then when something traumatic happens, and then you're like, oh, we have to stay friends, because if we don't, he'll tell. You know what I mean? Where you're like trauma bonded, and you're like, I'll fuck you up if you say anything. That type of friendship. So the year before I go away to college, I'm with my best friend Eric, we're in his car, and out of nowhere, I'm like, oh my God, I think I have to shit right now. I have to go so bad. Just pull over, and he's like, we're 10 minutes from my house, and I was like, no, we're 30 seconds from a disaster. It's either going on the streets or in your car. You have two choices. And so he pulls over into this Serbian Orthodox church in Parma, Ohio. And I get out, he stops the car. As soon as he stops, I get out of the car, I close the door, and then I just pull my pants down, I lean against the car, and I just start shitting on his car. Like I never have in my entire life. I'm scared, I don't know what's happening. He gets out of his car, he comes around, he sees what's happening, he just starts yelling at me. And he's upset. And I've never been this exposed in my entire life. And I didn't know what to do, so I just start crying. So he's screaming at me, I'm sobbing, I just keep yelling, stop! And I don't know if I'm talking to him or the shit. And the only noise you hear in the background coming from my body is, you know that sound a Keurig makes when it's almost done? And you're like, oh, that shouldn't make that noise. There's no way an engineer designed that. There's no way God would let that happen. And so I'm freaking out, and then finally it ends, because that's how the bodies work, and it stops and it gets real quiet, and he's just like, get in the car, we gotta go. And I was like, we can't leave yet. And he's like, you wanna stay here? And I was like, I need to wipe so bad. So bad. And so he's like, let me check. He goes to his car, and it turns out the 97 Cavalier wasn't equipped with toilet paper. But he comes back with a stack of resumes, because it turns out Eric was applying for jobs that week. And he comes back, and I'm still leaning against the car. He starts ripping the headers off one by one, because he's like, I don't want someone to think that I did this. So he's ripping his name and number off. He's handing the resumes to me, and I'm wiping with heavy gloss paper, which isn't what you want. But I'm also learning about my friend, because every time I take one, I'm like, oh, whoa, Eric's proficient in Microsoft Word. That's crazy. And then wipe, and repeat. And so it keeps happening, and then we finally just leave this pile of just mud and experience in St. Sava's parking lot, don't tell him. And we leave. And the thing that's crazy to me is I was like, dude, a Serbian Orthodox priest definitely had to come in for Serbian Orthodox God the next day, and saw that and was just like, oh. You're testing me today, Serbian Orthodox God. You piece of shit. But he probably called like every McDonald's in the Northeast Ohio area and was like, hey, I'm looking for somebody that worked here from 2012 to 2014. That's proficient in Microsoft Word. And they were like, oh, you mean Eric? That's our fucking, he was our bread and butter for a long time. It's our tasty boy. I'm going through a breakup. Is anyone else living right now? Fuck yeah. Just me. You guys were like, we came here to have fun. Don't do this. Hell yeah. We're going to talk about it, though. Is that cool? We're all friends? Yeah. I got broken up via phone call. I was in Cleveland visiting family, and I got dumped. And my favorite thing about it is as soon as it happened, my dad was like, I'll come over and I'll talk to you about feelings. Which, if you know my dad, he's a Yugoslavian immigrant, and that's not really in their wheelhouse. Pretty sure Yugoslavia broke up because they didn't know how to talk about their feelings. Like, if you're Croatian, that joke hits. And that joke hits hard. And so he comes over, we're trying to talk about stuff, and I'm like, I don't think this is helping. I'm going to drive back to New York. I just want to go home. And he's like, hey, before you go, I just want to tell you one thing. I want you to know that when you're here, you're family. And I was like, I was so emotionally like destroyed that it didn't hit me. And then 3 days later, I was like sitting on my couch, and I was like, did my dad fucking quote the Olive Garden to me? When I was having one of the worst days of my life, I was like, I'm gonna leave. He was like, just do it. But so I'm driving back to New York, and I'm like, I'm not gonna cry because I'm a man. And then a song comes on. It's a song I hate by a band that I totally fucking hate. It was just I Miss You by Blink-182. Yeah, it comes on, and then it gets to that part where it's like, where are you? And I was like, where is she? Skip. But you're trying to skip, and then you're like, oh, every song is a song about love or a song about being heartbroken. So then you're like, think of a song that's not a love song, and the only song that I could think of was just friggin' Cotton Eye Joe. So I put that on for 17 minutes. Doesn't help at all. So that's on, and then I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, we broke up. Is there anything that I should like be thinking about that we had planned that maybe I should cancel? And I realized that I ordered her flowers for like a day later, and I was like, oh, that's probably not a good move, sending flowers to someone that just dumped you, right? So I call 1-800-Flowers. I get on the phone. You know how customer service is usually like the worst thing about any company? I get the best customer service I've ever had in my entire... This woman picks up, she goes, hi, my name is Rosa. I go, hi, I'm Joe. She's like, how can I help you? I go, I'd like to cancel some flowers. And then the first thing she says is, it's never the wrong time for flowers. I don't know if you know what's going on, Rosa, but it's actually a pretty inopportune time for flowers right now. You have no clue. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, that's right, Rosa, you don't know. And she goes, tell me. And I go, I will tell you, Rosa. And then for the next 45 minutes, I just told Rosa about my breakup. And she's like, I need to ask you something. And I'm like, you can ask me anything, Rosa, because I love her at this point. And she goes, do you love your girlfriend? I go, yes, I do. And she's like, then you get the flowers. And I was like, Rosa, did you listen to a single fucking word I said? I do not want we broke up. So she gets real quiet, and I hear typing on the keyboard, which is never a good sign. And she's like, I've got good news and I've got bad news. And I was like, Rosa, you are 1-800-Flowers. You shouldn't have any news whatsoever. You should either have flowers or not flowers. Those are your two options. What are you doing to me right now? And she goes, the bad news is it's too late to cancel the flowers. But the good news is she's going to get the flowers. And I was like, this is the third time you've disappointed me, Rosa. So like a month goes by, we're broken up, but we're like talking, we're trying to make it work, and it's not going well. And then it finally reaches a point where I was like, hey, what are we doing? What's going on? And she's like, I can't do this anymore, and blocks me on everything, which is devastating. And then I get like Irish sailor drunk that night and immediately go to a bar. And while I'm drinking, I get an email from 1-800-Flowers. That's just like, you haven't ordered flowers in a while. And I was like, why do you think that is, 1-800-Flowers? What could have possibly led to this lack of business? I burped. So I wake up the next day. It's a Saturday. I'm very hungover. I'm in my bed. And I wake up because I get a text message from a number I don't recognize. And I open it, and it just says, your 1-800-Flowers order has been shipped. And I was like, no. So I click on the order, and I sent her favorite flowers with a card that just said, I'm sorry, they made me do this. I had to. And that's funny, but we're all friends in here. What the card actually said, because I'm a soft little boy, is it just said, I'm sorry things didn't work out. Part of me will always love you. But then I was drunk, and I thought it would be cute to, instead of signing it with my real name, I signed it with my nickname. So it just said, Old Freight Train. Like she just got laid off from the railroads. And I was like, here's your flowers. Cole's not coming back. And so the weirdest thing about this is this was obviously a terrible idea, but I'd like to think that Rosa was working when that order came in, and she saw it come in, saw who it was for, saw who it was from, and she had to be like, oh, it might be the wrong time for flowers. Might actually be the wrong time. Guys, I'm Joe Briggs. Thanks for coming out. Thanks. I love you guys. Thank you.
For Joe Briggs, everybody. So, Joe's got posters for sale with his